Hey everyone, my name is Tim, and what I'd like to do today is my first album review. I'm not going to pick anything new this week. I'm going to pick something that is very dear to my heart, I would say, and that's AC/DC's Back in Black. I remember when I was a kid, my sister had this record. Back then, when I was a young kid, I'm going to say maybe like, I don't know, 6, 7 years old. I was listening to my parents' music, which was Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, Barry Manilow. Still listen to that stuff today. But I wandered into a room and I seen this record, and I was sitting there and I'm like, wow, this thing's all black. What's that all about? How they edged the name in there. I thought that was so cool when they had the little symbol like this. Just really, it kind of intrigued me. So then I started reading some of the names of the songs, and when I saw Hell's Bells, I was like, okay. So then, as any curious kid would do, I opened it up, pulled out the sleeve. I saw the picture of Angus and was like, this dude's cool. And I was like, what is that he's playing? Because I didn't even know what the guitar was. I was not, didn't know didn't know any musical instrument, just knew what music was, didn't know how it was played. As far as I knew when I was a kid, music came out of the air. I didn't know nothing about musicians or nothing like that. So anyway, so I seen this and I was like, interesting. And then you got the live pictures of, you got Angus here, you got Phil Rudd, you got Cliff Williams. Excuse me, I'm sorry, let me do that again. I'm sorry, I'm a dope. You got Angus Young, you got Phil Rudd right here, you got Malcolm Young, because I'm an idiot. You got Cliff Williams, and then this is what threw me the most. I seen that all these guys were like in a live set, but then you had Brian Johnson here who was just standing in a doorway. And I just thought, I don't know, maybe he didn't like any of his live pictures. I don't know. I didn't know nothing about AC/DC's back history. I didn't know nothing about Bon Scott. I didn't know nothing about his death. Nothing. I didn't know anything. And that's technically why the album is all black, as a tribute to Bon Scott, in case you didn't know that. So I took this record out. As you can see, it looked just like this one does. Okay. And I put it on my sister's stereo, and the first thing I heard was the ring of Hell's Bells. And I was blown away. I was like, I was actually like, ooh, this is going to be eerie. This is a little creepy to me because I wasn't used to hearing that kind of stuff. And then when the guitar came in, it was like, it just sent fire up my veins, I guess you would say. I don't know any other way to put it. But that whole song, just incredible. And it's funny because a lot of people think that song's about hell and stuff, and it's because, from what I understand from reading books over the years and hearing interviews, it's more or less that AC/DC, when they recorded this record, they were in the Bahamas, and the weather there was horrible. So Brian Johnson basically was, writing how he felt about, because the weather was so bad. That's where that came from. All the way through this record, "Shoot to Thrill," second song, awesome. Just I love the midsection where it's just, the guitar. I love the whole song, but the midsection where it's the guitar and it's basically just the instruments and it's a real slow pace. I think that's really cool. Um, I love Brian Johnson's vocals on this entire record. And that goes back to, I never knew that Brian Johnson was in a band called Geordie. Found that out a couple years later. Went out and bought a couple of their records. I'll review a couple of them maybe in the future, but went out and bought one of their records. And if you ever listen to what he did in Geordie versus what he did in AC/DC, totally different voice. He came more of a high range on with AC/DC, and I don't know if that's, maybe he was thinking, maybe he heard the old Bon Scott song and how high Bon could sing and was like, I got to get my voice up higher. Maybe, something like that. But anyway, so after that, it's excuse me. After Shoot the Thrill, we have the track listings escaping me, excuse me. Getting old. Okay. So you got What Do You Do for Money, Honey? Again, great song. The opening riff of that song. Dun, 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 dun. Just this you got to understand. I was never introduced to guitar music like this, and just sitting there listening to this as a kid, I was like, every song that came on, I was like, what is this? What is this? You know what I mean? Because I'd never heard anything like this before. So that song, still to this day, AC/DC does play it every now and then. Have never seen them play that song live. Seen them play Hell's Bells, seen them play Shoot the Thrill, never seen them play What Do You Do for Money, Honey? I've seen videos of them playing it, but never seen them play that live. So then after that, we got Giving a Dog a Bone. And actually, I'll show you something here. I have a flag that actually shows that. You can see it. There it is right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Probably not doing a good job at it, but so it's funny because the song is, if you listen to the lyrics, the song's really not about a dog at all. I'll let your imagination run wild on that one. I'm not going to go into what it's about. Just use your imagination, and I'm pretty sure you can figure it out if you listen to some of the lyrics in that song. Pretty sure that you'll get the point. But for a little kid, again, didn't know what that meant. Just thought the song was great. Just, the lyrics were amazing, in my opinion. And again, just another great song. Side one ends with Let Me Put My Love Into You. Again, when you're a little kid, you don't know what that means. But when you're an adult, you kind of do. Again, just starts off with a really good riff. Dun, 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 dun. Just really cool all the way through. I love the verses in that song are cool. The chorus is awesome. Just a phenomenal song. I'm really not going to, I don't really have anything bad to say about this record because, first of all, I'm a huge AC/DC fan. Got a tattoo here to prove it. And I don't think AC/DC has a bad album in my opinion. But let's flip the record over now. I'm going to flip it. This is side A. I'm going to flip it now to side B. Okay. So side B starts off with the title track, Back in Black. As soon as you hear that, I actually, a couple years, well, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, I actually learned how to play that song on the drums. I sat there and studied it. I watched some YouTube videos on how to play it and just started playing along with it. Very easy song to play. Very easy song to play. Very good song too, by the way. Back in Black is amazing. Back in Black is an amazing tune. As Brian Johnson says, that was his tribute to Bon Scott. They told him to write a tribute song and he just started jotting stuff down, man, whatever came to his mind. And that's how the lyrics came about. He was just trying to put himself in Bon Scott's mind. And I think he did a really good job with that one. Just to me, that's just an all-around good rock and roll song. I know it's still to this day, I think that song still stands up to this day. All right, the next song on side 2 is, I'm sure everybody's heard this song, and that is You Shook Me All Night Long. I'm sure everybody's heard that song. It's probably the most played AC/DC song ever. You turn on any rock station, whether you listen to regular radio, Pandora, whatever, you're going to hear that song. I'm sure everybody has heard that song. It's just a really good tune. It's got some good guitar playing, good rhythm. I love the lead in that song. The lead guitar in that song is mind-blowing. Awesome. Just a great song. Then we go with, here's another song that's been played recently a lot on the radio that in the early days I never heard a lot of, but Have a Drink on Me, another great song. mid-tempo, kind of bluesy. Starts off like a little pace and then kind of picks up at the end. But just again, all around, just a great song. I can just imagine AC/DC sitting around a room. They were probably all drinking when they wrote this song, and it was like, hey, let's write a song about drinking, and that's what they did. And it's just a, like my opinion, just a great song. And then we come to Shake a Leg. Now, Shake a Leg is to me, I think, one of the heaviest songs I think AC/DC's ever done in their career. It's just, it starts off real slow, but then it just picks up pace and fires 100% on. To me, like I said, I think that is probably the closest to metal that AC/DC ever got. It's a wild song. I love how the end, Brian Johnson's just really getting into the song. And then at the end, he's like, full blown, screaming, shake a leg. You know what I mean? It's, other than, I can't really describe it any other way than that. To me, it's like one of the most heaviest AC/DC songs that they've ever written. Just a good tune, another one, just a great song. Like I said, it's got great guitar, great rhythm section. Angus's lead is wild as hell. If you ever seen Angus, if you ever seen AC/DC on stage, man, Angus is like the focal point of that band, and he puts on a spectacular performance every time I've seen him. Whether he's just running around, laying on the ground, playing, running around, doing his striptease, whatever it is, he's just absolutely incredible. And then the final song on the album is Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution. That's probably another one of my favorites on this record. It's more of a blues rock song, and to me, it's like the anthem of rock and roll, because it is the truth. Rock and roll ain't noise pollution, and I don't care who likes it and who doesn't. You can say whatever you want, but it takes a lot. Takes a lot of talent to do what these guys do, and that song's just incredible. Actually seen them play that live before. It was on the Stiff Upper Lip tour, and just blew me away because I'd never seen them play it live before. But it's just a good blues song. It's like a harder edge blues. That's the best way I can describe it. I'm really not a music critic, and I don't want to be a music critic. I'm a music fan, but my opinion, it's just got a really good blues riff to it. And then again, like every song on this record, Angus, I just love how I don't know where he pulls these leads from that he does, but he's just an amazing lead guitar player. And not only that, I think the backbone of AC/DC, and I've heard Angus say this before, if they didn't have Malcolm Young in the band from the moment they started, I don't think they would be as good. I still think they would be good, but I don't think they would be great as they are, because to me, Malcolm Young is a phenomenal rhythm guitar player. He is probably one of the best in the business. And it's such a shame because throughout his whole career, he was so underrated. He never got credit for anything as like being one of the greatest rhythm guitarists, or just all around great guitarist there is. He never got credit for that, and I don't think he even cared. Like, I think his big thing was, I just want to go on stage, play music, and enjoy it. And I really think that, him being part of that rhythm section of him, Cliff Williams, and Phil Rudd, that is one of the greatest rhythm sections ever in rock and roll. And I think that his guitar playing just led a lot to this record. I know when I heard in an interview once, he said that he was talking about how some of the songs were, they were listening to like 50s music at the time or something like that. I don't know exactly how he said, but just he was just awesome the way he played. And like I said, if you listen to the rhythm guitar playing on this record, not just this record alone, any AC/DC record that you listen to, Malcolm's just got he's a really good player, and he's a really good songwriter. Him and Angus Young are incredible songwriters. For what they do, the one thing I loved about AC/DC, and I still do love about AC/DC, is they were consistent all the way through. They never followed trends. They never cared about the current situation in music, whatever the case is. They were like, this is our band. We're doing our things our way. And I'm so glad reading the whole history when I did, and I found that, Bon Scott died and all that stuff. I was so glad when I heard, I'm glad that they decided to continue, because this is one of the best selling rock and roll albums of all time. And it's still up there. Okay. It's still one of the greatest rock and roll albums ever. If somebody were to say to me, how do you define rock and roll? I'd say, put this record on and listen to this first. There's plenty of other ones I would pick to follow, but this would be my first one. I'd say pick this album first, listen to it, and then we'll move on from there. That if I was teaching a class to say that, that would be the first. So, but again, just an all-around great album. It's an album that every now and then I'll see it in my collection and be like, oh man, I haven't listened to this in a while. Let me put it on. And then I just sit back with my headphones on and I just let AC/DC do their thing in my ears. And I just sit there with my eyes closed and a big smile on my face going, man, I really wish I could have seen them on this tour, but some incredible stuff. I know it's not really, for me to review a record, it's not really that long, but, that's my take on that record. And hopefully we'll do this again. Hopefully I'll do this video again like this. I'll pick another record and talk more about it, but drop me a line here. Tell me what you think. Tell me if there's any way I could improve or if there's something you didn't like. But remember, I'm not a music critic. I'm just a fan giving my opinion on an album that I love. So thanks for checking out my video, and see you later.